What's good, everybody? Welcome back. You already know what to do, and if you're new around here, hit that like and subscribe button, and let's dive in. The truth about water.
If you knew what they were doing with these water towers and these devices mounted to them, there would absolutely be a public disturbance, you could say, and people would want to know who is behind this shocking act of frequency manipulation of water. You may be thinking, what effect does that have on me? Let's ask Nikola Tesla. There are patents that would make your head spin about the technological capabilities of these innocuous-looking little transmitters. Now, we know water stores memory. You know, Masaru Emoto would speak different words and different sentences and stuff to water, then he'd freeze it, and you'd see the molecular structure of it. These things emit an amount of frequencies that if you go to the base of one of these towers, it tells you to not enter the fenced-in area because it would exceed the limit of exposure. And then we also have a woman who put different words underneath and different images underneath little pans of water and then freeze it. And the water stores the memory of the image of the thing she put underneath the little petri dish of water. So there's a lot about water we're not being told, and there's a lot they're doing to our water that they think is good, but we know is shocking. We're going to do more on this. Comment for part 2 and follow for more.
That's why I believe well water is the best.
We're probably going to be able to talk to animals this year. Yeah, the Earth Species Project is using AI to decode animal language. So they made models of words and their associations of like star to universe and star to like a famous person. And then it makes one of these. The 10,000 most used words in a language get made into a model. The coolest part, I thought, is that they all look almost exactly the same, which ironically looks like a backwards 16th note. So they use the same technique on animals and listen to them when they communicate. And then they make a model like one of these. It's then matched with the English model or whatever language you speak and then translated back to you. Sick. But there's another layer. We can only understand things because of geometry, even words. In cymatics, noise is chaos, pattern is order. An ordered sound creates symmetry in the folds of a wave. And then that pattern means something, like the vowels you see up there. Those individual geometries can then be understood by your brain. You can then form those into words or harmony in music. It's all the same. It's even in your DNA. I just want to talk to my dog, and hopefully if we can find some harmony with AI, we can talk to these guys.
What the hell is that? Deep sea batfish? No, thank you.
Discovered in Babylovo Palace in Russia, this gigantic bathtub is called the Tsar Bath. The giant tub was carved out of a single piece of granite that weighed 160 tons and originated from one of the Finnish islands.
Be very careful about what you say to yourself in your head or out loud. Hi, this is Dr. Richard Lewis Miller. I'm an 86-year-old clinical psychologist with 60 years of professional practice. The mind records everything. It records everything it sees. It records everything that it hears. It records everything that it smells. And it records everything. When you criticize your back, I've got a bad back. The mind hears that. When you make any kind of comments that are negative about yourself, the mind hears that. But suppose you said positive things. Say something like, I'm really glad my back is doing its best under challenging circumstances. I'm so happy my head was able to get rid of that ache. What's more fun? And what feels better? Saying positive things to your body? What a great set of legs I have that get me going everywhere I need to go? Or is it more fun and make us feel better to say, oh, my legs, they're wearing out, or other negatives? Of course the positives feel better. And that's why it's better to stay on the positive and be aware of the language you use when you're describing your own body.
I'm very careful what I say in my head or out loud. 10 billion%. Today is going to be a great day. I feel good. Saying it out loud makes me feel better.
This is crocodile armor from 200 AD that was found in northern Egypt, and yes, it is made out of crocodile skin. This is field armor that was designed for a child to wear, and it was owned by a noble family back in the 1600s. I don't think they used it, but I hope they didn't have to. This is a 9,000-year-old mask that was found in the Judean desert of Israel, and it's known as the world's oldest mask. It's actually made out of stone and was likely used for magic ceremonies. Pretty crazy. Follow for more.
New Zealand has many mysteries. Look at these. I said look.
That looks like it was split in half, doesn't it? A dragon's egg or something. A petrified seed from a massive tree? You guys tell me.
New Zealand.
In one of the only examples in ancient Egypt, we find a depiction of childbirth. And this is extremely unusual, but we also find instructions for the correct position for a woman to be in during childbirth. This is yet another example of their advancement in the medical field. As well as this, we find depictions of medical tools used for surgery, along with inscriptions that talk about the surgeries performed.
Have you guys heard about dolphin births? You gotta see this if you haven't.
The truth about dolphin-assisted births that they don't want you to know. This is the truth about dolphin-assisted births that they don't want you to know. This is Igor Charkowski, and he's assisted in thousands of dolphin-assisted births. Apparently, the dolphins would just take over the birthing process. They would swim around the mother and use sonar, which would somehow relax the mother and child to give birth with no pain or fear. There's actually a video online of a dolphin-assisted birth, and you could see how much more quick and painless it looks. It gets crazier than even this, though. There are thousands of testimonials of babies being born under dolphin-assisted births and being far more advanced than the average child. For example, they could talk and walk earlier than the average child. And apparently, most of them have IQs over 150, plus extremely stable emotional bodies and strong physical bodies. It is hypothesized that during the birthing process, the dolphins heal and boost the systematic function of these babies by telepathically communicating with them. Dolphins really are magical creatures and are extremely intelligent. Let me know what you think in the comments.
If you thought I didn't have some interesting specimens for you today, think again. The most toxic crystals in our shop. All right, I'm going to try to name this out. Cuproscolduscite. I tried, y'all. A nuclear radiation detector. Oh my goodness. Rilgar. Wow. Boltwoodite. Orphamite. Looks like a giant Cheeto. If I had to name this specimen, I'll call it the Toxic Cheeto. What on earth is in our sky thousands of feet up? This was captured in Fairfax, Virginia.
This is like the sky. And this is just there. I don't know what, I'm trying to block the light.
Make it make sense. St. Patrick's Cathedral. Look at this, y'all.
The beautiful St. Patrick's Cathedral. Look at this. Damn right. You guys really believe this? This thing is, it's from a different era. How could you sit here with a straight face and argue with me that this was built in 1879? Oh, the Italian masonry guys. Listen, I'm Irish. Irish people got no respect. You think Italian people got respect? Stop it. Yeah, call all the superpowers in the world. We're done. People believe this was built in 1879. It was built in the world.
All right, looks like it has Yah in the middle and the disciples.
We're done. People.
And not to mention how giant this door is. Giants were straight walking into this building. Why else would you make a door that massive?
Believe this was built in 1879? Just give them the keys to the country. We are done as a country, as a society. If you guys think this was built in 1879, I don't care what country you're from, give away the keys. Your country's doomed if you believe this. We're done as a society. If you think this beautiful church was built in 1879. From the back. What, 1858? 1879? Come on. That makes sense? That makes sense? Come on, New York. Make it make sense. The beautiful.
This almost looks like that one in Barcelona. And this, I believe this is in New York. So many structures in New York. It's ridiculous. All right. UAP base on the moon. Is it real? Interesting.
Fort Jefferson. They built this in 1846. 16 million bricks. Okay, so here's the craziest thing about this. So I believe it's 70 miles-ish off the coast of Florida. On the Gulf side, who did they think was going to attack them from that vantage point? It's also 70 miles off the coast, so it could easily be avoided. You know, like you're not protecting the mainland United States with that fort. And the craziest part about all of it was there's no fresh water on that island.
No water, yeah. No water.
Try to wrap your mind around what the purpose of this place was based on the timeline we're taught that it was built. It makes no sense whatsoever. And what we're told is they sent prisoners and people like that over there to build it. And it's the most complicated masonry style of how they
like
put the bricks together.
And all that stuff, yeah.
We can't even fathom 16 million bricks, but they...
Prisoner of architects? How did they pull that off?
They would have had to ship the bricks 70 miles, boatloads of them. And then they did what with this place?
Nothing. Yeah.
It's all a lie.
Yeah.
It's all a lie. I mean, that's all you can really say is that was there before. We don't know when that was there. We don't know who used it and for what reason. But we know that they didn't build that thing as some kind of outpost for potentially the future civil war that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or the British. Again, it's like on the Gulf side of Florida. Like it's really not good strategically. But like I said, with no fresh water, Fort Jefferson.
All right. Leaked million-year-old UFO archaeological dig in Africa. This looks like something straight out of the Starship Enterprise, doesn't it?
All right, now this is a video of a UFO that's old, that's been here for millions of years, that they dug up out the ground. Now look how low it was buried. There had to have been 1 million years worth of dirt that's covering this UFO. They hide it in plain sight because the only way you can see it is to fly over, and the airspace is restricted. But look at this. Tell me what y'all think about this.
Apollo has a very different approach because he is still bound. He is not risen. He is in darkness in the bottomless pit and locked up. And if you want to go talk to him, you have to be a carrier of the X, which is the covenant of his kingdom, a child of his throne, and be able to go down into the bottomless pit and talk to him. So they literally performed a medical procedure, like a table like this, all surgical steel room. And it was deep, like a bathtub, with a drain in the center. And they laid me inside there. And they brought in a group of people dressed in robes, but nothing special, like dudes, creeps, freaks. But then they brought in a different thing who was completely covered in blood, like huge quantities of blood, like 5 gallons of 5-gallon buckets worth of blood. I know how much blood it takes to cover a person. And he was covered in blood, like he had stood under a shower and bathed in blood, red, vibrant, fresh blood. And he was not human, not like the others. And then another one of those came in all in blue, like sapphire blue, cold as ice, devoid of life, not charged up whatsoever. And one stood at my feet and the other stood at my head. And they began to bring in this piece of equipment, which was huge, like a rolling refrigerator. and they brought it into the side of the table, and they hooked me up to an IV and ran my blood into this machine that was like a similar to a dialysis machine, but different. And then they began to pour buckets of ice onto my body, filling up the tub. Meanwhile, these guys around are chanting and doing this incantations in the tongue of the Nahash, which sounds like gibberish, slow motion video that's run backwards. And it's very disturbing. But as they pulled the blood out of my body, I began to go into hypothermia, and then I went into cardiac arrest until they pulled the blood out of my body and were cooling it down further inside there till I died. And when I died, they were casting me into Sheol. They were casting my spirit down with this ritual to go and speak to Apollo.
This was speaking with the god Apollo, using technology to reach the underworld. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, y'all. What is going on?
Next time they try to tell you that our ancient ancestors were primitive and that they built everything with hammer and chisel, you can just go ahead and laugh at them, because that's impossible. Not possible with a hammer and chisel. This is laser precision. I keep telling you guys, so wake up.
All right, guys, I guess they finally got Mothman on camera. Let's see what he's talking about.
59 years, Mothman has finally been caught on camera, and I'm going to show you. At least a lot of people are claiming this is, in fact, the elusive Mothman, which first was spotted nearly 60 years ago in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Here's a little something you might not know. Since the original Mothman sighting in the 1960s, there have been dozens of Mothman sightings across the Appalachia and beyond. Everywhere from Arkansas to Cades Cove and the Smoky Mountains, pretty much everywhere. Mothman-type creatures who people report being 7 to 8 feet tall, and some comparable to that of a toddler or small child. Watch what this person captured on their camera as they were cruising through the Appalachian backroads, and this winged creature crosses the road. Check it out. Let me know in the comments what you think. Have a great day. God bless. After 59 years, Mothman has finally...
This object was definitely crazy. What exactly it was, I couldn't tell you. You can see like some feelers, antennas behind them. That's a tough one.
Hey, under Chicago, there's thousands of miles of tunnels. Hey, under Chicago, there's thousands of miles of tunnels. They say they were built in the 1800s for freight and coal. Yeah, right. In 1992, the Chicago River busted through and flooded Macy's basement like Poseidon clogged the toilet. But these tunnels, they're everywhere. All the cities, they all connect. They go deep. And they were here before us. Because this was Tartaria. Tartaria. A lost civilization with free energy, grand architecture, and technology way ahead of its time. And they wiped it out. And the reset? That was the World's Fairs. They staged these massive expos in the late 1800s, like Chicago 1893, and all these other ones. They were showing off massive buildings and new technology. And they claimed they built it all in months, and then demolished everything right after. It wasn't a celebration. It was a ritual, a reset. A public cover-up to replace the old world. They were burying the past. And I know it's real. Years ago, in my party goblin era, I met this girl at a bar. She looked like Aubrey Plaza's Sloan who escaped the lab. Then she took me to where she lived. She took me through a hidden door on Michigan Avenue. But I remember I kept going down staircases, down and down and down. Felt weird. People lived there, I guess. She didn't have a door, it was ripped off, busted microwave, flickering lights. And she said that this was our shared community space.
At what point do you turn around and be like, look, this ain't for me, I gotta go?
Some shit like that. I was hammered. I was thinking, shared with who? Ninja Turtles? Then some tweaker shows up, and he was looking at me like he wanted to kill me. And she's like, I gotta put him to bed. And then she takes him to bed. She goes up one flight of stairs, and I hear banging of furniture moving around. So I dipped. I climbed out, shooting out like Mario. So the tunnels are real. The reset was real. And I'm never following an Audrey Plaza clone again.
It's an old world builder.
Hey, under Chicago, there's thousands of...
What? Dark entity tries to attack a preacher. What?
This entity, this person appears in the left-hand side of me next to the car, and he just stares at me, walks in front of the car in front of me, and he disappeared. I could see through the window, but he disappeared. And I went, what? And what did I miss? I'm tired. It's about, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And this car takes off, and then this car takes off, and I'm following this car, and I go to another mile, another stop sign. It's dark. This time I'm much closer to the car for some reason. This man appears a second time. This time he looks at me with more beady eyes. He looks at me and he walks in front of the car. And he disappears again. I go, I can see through the windows. I can see through the windows of the car in front of me. I can see. But he disappeared. How is this? He leans forward and then he says the following. By the way, without opening his mouth. And he says, I hate what you're doing. And then he amped up. He goes, especially the sprayed. And he does this blood-curdling shout cry. And then he goes down. And I go, what in the world did I just experience? As I'm driving away, I'm driving now, God speaks to me. I hear his voice. And he says, there's a normal voice. He wanted to get on your car. I would not allow him. He wants to kill you now. He wants you to fall asleep. And that power pole and you instantly. That's his plan. He wants to jump on the top of your car right now. I will not allow him. And Tony, I had this vision of what it would be for someone to land on your car. I mean, those of you who are listening, watching, imagine that thump sound, like on your car, like some scary movie. And then God said he wants to get in the windshield and look at you upside down, not as the man that you just saw, but as who he really is. And I went, oh God. I'm praying in the spirit. I got my hand on the roof like this here. I'm praying like in Jesus' name, no, as if God's not enough,
Dragon mythology explains sight and the paleo camera or camera obscura. What if I showed you how dragons are actually symbols for light in its flight through a pinhole? In Proto-Indo-European, the root word is dirt for the sea. Let's see how that goes. The dragon remains in the cave. That compares to a camera obscura or chamber of darkness. The dragon is hoarding the gold. That compares to the sunlight that pinholes absorb and then harness. Dragons breathe fire and smoke. That compares to both image projected and shadows that broke up. Dragons have wings. That compares to the light cones that I know are formed by a pinhole and focus. Dragons have tails that are slithering. That compares well to the wave for the way that they're wiggling. Dragons can blow away villages. That compares well to how lenses invert and flip images. Dragons may shade with their wings. That compares to the true viewing angle to watch a projection. The Ouroboros eats his tail. That compares to the pinhole itself. It's the clearest connection. The dragon is a mnemonic representation of vision. The eye absorbs sunlight and produces an inferior light within the mind. The dragon hoards gold and breathes fire within a cave. The Latin word for gold is ore. It comes from the Greek aura, meaning air or emanation. In Latin, gold is named for the emanations of the sun. The connotation of air rising informs Greek oros, meaning tail. A hanging tail raises up horizontally to help an animal balance itself like the bar on a set of scales. The dragon is the fiery serpent of world myth. The Greek Draco Ouroboros literally means dragon that eats its own tail. Figuratively, we can say it means vision consumes light. A vision is an internal image made of outer light that has been consumed by the apparatus of vision. I see visions of the world by absorbing sunlight and shining a lesser light within my mind. Therefore, I am a dragon, a cannibal fire.
Man, that's all we got for today's video. If you made it this far, the code word is underground. Go ahead and drop underground in the comments below. That lets me know you a real one. You made it all the way through the video and you really rock with your boy. Guys, I got a lot going on behind scenes right now. And doing my best to work through it. And yeah, I'm going to do my best to pump out these videos when I can. And I just want to say thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. I love you guys. And till next time. This was the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you later.